Yeah, zoom in on Donald Trump's notes right there as the market is crashing. Donald Trump was selling Teslas at the White House, but if you zoom in right there, he literally has the Tesla pricing for a full self-driving vehicle, the Model X, the CT. He's out there doing product placement for Tesla as people's pensions, retirements, 401ks are getting absolutely destroyed by Donald Trump's erratic tariff threats and tariff wars that he then pulls back and then threatens again and threatens annexation. Here's what Donald Trump was doing yesterday. He was sitting in a Tesla and he was just shocked at the way a car looked because hasn't driven a car in a long time and he doesn't know how to drive. Here's what we posted on the MeidasTouch social media accounts. Americans, we'd like to afford basic necessities, keep vital programs around, and not lose our retirement savings. Donald Trump, the best I can do is a car commercial for the richest man on earth. And we're supposed to feel bad for Elon Musk as he and Donald Trump are firing our veterans, attacking 9/11 first responders, sending groups of 19 to 25-year-olds to get our private data, our medical records, our social security information, our tax records. We're supposed to feel bad for the guy who said he wants to inflict suffering on us while he enriches himself to the tune of billions of dollars. So when Trump and Musk were outside of the White House, I want you to watch this moment. I don't think you've seen this clip before. You may have, but so Trump is talking about Ukraine and he says, Marco Rubio, Steve Wyckoff, Michael Waltz, he's making names and he goes, they want to see two things happen. And then he loses it. He freezes and then he goes, death. They want death. Huh? And then he goes, I'm surprised that people who live in the country are people. What's he talking about here?
People have done a great job. Marco Rubio's been great. Steve Witkoff's been great. Michael Waltz. Every one of them, they've really stepped up. They are into it. They want to see two things. By far, number one is death. The people that aren't citizens of our country, but they're people, just like you.
So then he talks about how he doesn't know how to drive and that he's never driven a vehicle in a long time.
So I just wanted to make a statement. I'm going to buy one. Now, here's the bad news. I'm not allowed to drive because I haven't driven a car in a long time, and I love to drive cars. But I'm going to have it at the White House, and I'm going to let my staff use it.
Oh, right. That's Mr. Alpha right there, right? He can't drive a car. You know who was able to drive a car? Former President Biden. Here, take a look at this clip when former President Biden was around. Play this clip. Sorry, I had to be slightly, I don't think it's that petty. I had to show you that clip. So then Donald Trump was asked, do you think that your tariff policies are causing economic harm and hurting people this week? Trump goes, nah, Biden's fault. Biden.
Mr. President, you mentioned the ups and downs in the stock market. You said it'll go up, it'll go down. But do you and your tariff policies right now bear any responsibility for the turmoil we're seeing this week?
Biden gave us a horrible economy. He gave us horrible inflation. And I think the market was going to go very, very bad. If anything, I have a lot of very smart people, friends of mine and great businessmen. They're now investing because of what I'm doing. Because long term, what I'm doing is making our country strong again, financially strong, militarily strong, and strong if we want to get away. Remember this, we have wars. When I left, we had no wars. We didn't have Ukraine and Russia. We didn't have October 7th. We didn't have that disaster that took place with the withdrawal from Afghanistan. And you look at what's happened there.
I just want to come with receipts when I do these videos. Because here's what Donald Trump previously promised during the campaign, where he said on day one he was going to fix everything. Like a miracle, he would get everything done, even though with former President Biden, inflation was going down to 2%, interest rates were coming down, GDP growth was up, unemployment was down to record levels, job growth was at record levels, Infrastructure Act, Inflation Reduction Act, PACT Act, CHIPS Act. Was actually doing things, but Donald Trump said he was going to fix everything.
So when I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one. We will end Kamala's war on American energy, and we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill.
And I got to bring receipts like that. And then you contrast that to the kind of propaganda machine that's out there. And so as Trump is crashing our economy, as people, most Americans living paycheck to paycheck, don't know where that next paycheck's going to be, as Trump and Musk are cruelly ripping apart the lives of veterans and people in the military and spouses of military people and military families, and they're gutting the Department of Education, right? The recent announcement was they're firing 50% of the people who work at the Department of Education, right? What are they saying on Fox? They're saying, Trump is doing this for you. He could be on a yacht with Melania. He could be on the Melania yacht.
And I think Trump deeply resonates with him. Trump said he's putting it all on the line. Trump said this is something that's really not good for him. President Trump chose to do something for our country. He could be on a yacht somewhere, floating around with Melania.
So true.
He put it all on the line as a billionaire. Elon Musk put it all on the line. And it's not self-serving. They're doing it for the good of the country. So let's give them a break here as they try to save the future.
All right, fact check. Donald Trump would not be on a yacht with Melania. I can tell you the yachts that Donald Trump was on. He was on yachts with little girls. Yeah, he was on yachts in the early 1990s when he would throw beauty pageants for girls, not women, girls. And according to this article from The Guardian that was published many years ago, there would be old men old enough to be the girls' grandparents would grind on the little girls on the yacht right before, and Trump was on the yacht, right before Trump hosted the Look of the Year competition at his property with girls. Disgusting stuff. That's the yacht that Trump was on. Caroline Leavitt, Donald Trump's propagandist, press secretary, she was bragging that Donald Trump was, she's going, the economy may be bad, but Trump will be on a Tesla later today.
And I'll see you guys later. Perhaps you'll see the president in a Tesla later this afternoon. Have a good one.
Now, as Keith Edwards says, this one stings. According to one of the more recent MIRS polls, former Vice President Kamala Harris would trounce Donald Trump in Michigan if an election was held today. It's why it's important to get out information. It's why it's important to get out the truth. It's why it's important to defeat this propaganda machine, right? I mean, just think about what went down yesterday, right? The MAGA Republicans passed their continuing resolution that they say is going to fund the government, but it's really to defund the government. I think they're zeroing out like 22 programs. They're stealing money from Veterans Affairs, from schools, from law enforcement. They're like destroying all funds to go to Washington, D.C. Like they're crippling D.C. They hate Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. police and education getting totally taken away. They're stealing from children's health care to give tax cuts to the wealthiest like Elon Musk. They're harming working class families and then selling Teslas in front of the White House. And there's such a cruelty component to it. Such a cruelty component to it. I'll show you this moment yesterday in the House of Representatives at this committee hearing where a MAGA Republican Congress member self referred to the Congresswoman from Delaware, transgender Congresswoman from Delaware, Congresswoman McBride, and referred to her as Mr. McBride, to which then Congresswoman McBride called the chair Madam Chair, and then Democratic Congress member Keating then stood up for Democratic Congresswoman McBride. Watch this moment.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating, also wonderful.
Mr. Chairman, could you repeat your introduction again, please?
Yes, we have set the standard on the floor of the House, and I'm simply...
What is that standard, Mr. Chairman? Would you repeat what you just said when you introduced a duly elected representative from the United States of America? Please.
I will. The representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order. Mr. Chairman, have you no decency? I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this
You
hearing.
will not continue it with me unless you introduce a duly elected representative the right way.
This hearing is adjourned.
And it's just the cruelty of it. It's like the cruelty for the sake of cruelty. Like, why treat her that way? She's a human being. She's a human being. Like, why bully somebody like that? Unless you're just an evil, despicable person. And hat tip to Democratic Congressmember Keating for standing up to Congresswoman McBride. All this talk about alpha and masculine. I've said this before. People who are alpha or masculine don't refer to themselves as alpha and masculine, kind of number one. And also like someone like J.D. Vance who's like, masculinity is under attack. Okay. Masculine people don't believe masculinity is under attack. Okay, like J.D. Vance. So let's get that out of the way first and foremost, J.D. and MAGA. Second off, I'll tell you how I was raised. You don't punch down and bully marginalized communities. As I was always taught by my family, by my parents, they were like, Ben, you know what a man does? This is what they told me. You stand up for people who are being bullied. You stand up for marginalized communities. You show empathy. That's strength, not punching down and bullying people who may already be suffering or who are being bullied. It's ridiculous stuff. Enough of that crap. You got people like this, MAGA Republican Congressmember Brandon Gill, who's like, oh, yeah, things may be really bad right now, but we were handed bankruptcy by Biden, right?
President Trump inherited an economy and a government that is bankrupt, running $2 trillion deficits every single year. Unfortunately, he also inherited an appropriations process that has been busted, and the reality is that we just don't have and haven't had the time to bring us back to regular order to run a regular appropriations process. So what this CR does is it buys us more time as President Trump and DOJ are doing their incredible work that they're doing in identifying waste, fraud, and abuse.
Wrong. I'll just show you all again the Wall Street Journal headline. I could show you headlines from a ton of other places. I'll show you Wall Street Journal and Axios. Why? Because Wall Street Journal is right-leaning. Axios, I really don't know what leaning they are. Sometimes right, sometimes center, I don't know. But here's the Wall Street Journal, Murdoch-owned. April 14, 2024, envy of the world. U.S. economy expected to keep powering higher. Economists lift their growth forecast in latest Wall Street Journal survey. Then July 12, 2024, Axios. Just right inflation opens the door to a Goldilocks economy, meaning it was just right. And by the way, the Atlanta Federal Reserve just last month predicted strong GDP growth until Donald Trump started all of his tariff threats and tariff wars. And then the Atlanta Federal Reserve had to change its course and said because of Trump's policies, that's the impact. We now expect negative 2.8 to negative 3% GDP contraction, meaning we're headed towards a great recession and even potentially a depression right now because of what Trump's doing. And while he's doing this, he has his propagandists like this guy, Peter Navarro. So after Trump threatens annexation of Canada, to conquer Canada, as he says that Canada should be the 51st state, and Canada stands up to Donald Trump, then Peter Navarro, Trump's trade advisor, goes on TV and he's like, whoa, Canada, cool it. Canada, you need to chill. Your rhetoric, you're being a little mean to us.
But frankly, the premier, he's been... look, just tamp it down, please, over there, okay? Just throwing down the hockey gloves. Stop that rhetoric, and let's just look at what we're trying to do. We love Canada, but look, there's some big issues there, and we're not going to tolerate anything but them stopping killing Americans and doing what's right with respect to things like steel and aluminum, which they've been dumping into our country, and that's stopping.
And I show you that because it's just utterly pathetic behavior. And again, to me, this shouldn't be about even like a political party. I'm just watching that behavior and saying, pathetic. Pathetic, this Trump regime. Weak, weird, out of control. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.